What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Bear. Welcome to the Conservative Chicanos of the All-American Chicano Network. I got special guests today, but right now we're going to start off with John from Backyard Politics. John, bro, how has it been, my guy?
Bear, it's been good, man. How about you?
Good, man. Just staying busy, trying to work these channels that I have out, and getting myself back together.
I hear that, dude. I hear that. I've been out of the news for a year now, and it's been pretty nice. I don't really follow, even though my old channel, Backyard Politics, and all that. I used to be so involved in the news and current events and politics, and I said, you know what, I've got to give myself like a mental break from it all. And so we'll talk about that. But yeah, I with everything that's going on over there in Israel, of course, I got sucked back into the news, and one thing after another.
Bro, I'm the same way. It's crazy because I did the same thing. Got out of I think almost over a year now, going on 2 years, no politics, and it drags you back into it. You know what I mean? It drags you back in because it's insane because where we're at, man. And if you want to get a little religious into it, dude, this is big news.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people talking about, is this the last, is this the end times? Is this the time before the Great Tribulation? Is this part of the Great Tribulation? There's a lot of different prophecy in the Old Testament that talks about northern Israel being attacked and being burned up and having people, having their tongues dissolve from their mouths and their skin dissolve from their bodies and their eyes dissolve from their eyes and all this type of stuff. And a lot of people believe that that was a prophecy about a nuclear war that might take place in northern Israel. We've got Hamas down in the south, and we've got the who is it up in the north right now? I'm off the top of my head. The Hezbollah. You got Hezbollah up in the north that's dropping weapons or bombs from drones and that type of stuff. Could this lead to a nuclear war? Very possible. Is this a sign of the end times? It's very possible. But when it comes to eschatology, I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to say that this is, I'm not going to be one of those YouTubers that gets on and says, hey, this is what's happening. This is prophecy unfolding right before. We don't know for sure. Right. Yeah. We don't know for sure.
I know the Bible says that not even the Son of Man knows when he's going to come. So it's open to interpretation right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. I don't want to be one of the fear mongers, but while we're on the topic, I would say that the end times can come at any time, right? Mm-hmm. Christ can return. If you're a Christian, you believe this, Christ can return at any time. And so you kind of better get your act together. You need to be prepared for that. Not worrying about the signs. You need to be worried about, hey, if it happens tomorrow, I'm okay.
No, I totally agree with that. But just talking about it, man, where were you at when the Hamas invaded Israel? Do you remember where you were at?
That was Saturday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have been sitting in my office doing work. Completely oblivious.
Completely oblivious?
Yeah. I don't have the TV on. I don't run the news 24 hours a day. I don't have the Drudge Report or whatever people go to nowadays for their news. I don't have any of that streaming. And so I heard, because I guess it came across one of my wife's news feeds, and she came in and told me that Israel had been attacked. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I was.
And what was your first thoughts on it when you got that news?
3 words. Here we go again. That might be 4. Yeah, because Israel, I'm 52 years old, and I've seen Israel attacked. I can't tell you how many times. And so it seems to come in spurts. I guess this was on the kind of the anniversary of one of the wars that occurred, and so I'm not surprised by it. I know that Hezbollah and all the radical nutcases, they all want Israel wiped off the planet of the earth. They don't want a Jew alive. And so when I say Israel, you got a lot of Christians there, you got Muslims that live in Israel, you got Palestinians that live in Israel, but it's the Jew, right?
Mm-hmm.
These radical Muslims want the Jews wiped off the face of the earth. So this will continue to happen. We know that the Palestinians had, I believe, since the early 1900s, they've been offered a two-state solution 5 times,
Oh yeah.
and every time they say no.
I think back in what was it 2000, I think Bill Clinton hosted a peace treaty between Israel and Gaza and offered two state system. And
Mm-hmm.
while they were in the middle of that negotiation, Gaza attacked Israel.
Yeah, and I believe it was Bill Clinton that said himself. He said, anytime I would ask a question, what about this? What about it was always no, 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 no from Yasser Arafat. It was a constant no. There was never even a maybe. Let me think about it. Everything was a no. And Israel was ready to give up land. Israel was ready to make this work. And that's always been the way it is.
Yeah.
Right? Israel seems to always come to the plate and say, yeah, we'll play ball. Let's do it. Let's figure this out. Let's work together. And the Palestinian response is always no. There is no two-state solution. It's either it is the way it is now in constant war, or every Jew has to leave this area and we occupy the entire state of Israel.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen.
No, that's not going to happen.
When what's crazy is I was talking to Gator earlier today, and we were talking about, and I wasn't alive back then, but I think in the 70s or the 60s they had the 7-day war, or the 5-day war, and Israel just got all the way to Egypt and had occupied northern Egypt, and gave it back.
Yeah, they gave back the West Bank. They gave back the Gaza Strip,
all of it, and they could have easily just said, "No, we won this. It's ours. It's done."
Yeah.
And it seems like it's always Israel that has to make the concessions. They always have to go and give back what they want. It's never, you don't ever see anything from the Muslim world ever wanting to give back anything to Israel. It's always Israel having to make the concessions. Always Israel saying, "Okay, whatever's going to give us peace." And that's all. It seems like that's all they want is peace. They don't want this war. They have the Iron Dome, which actually, if you think about the Iron Dome, it actually saves Gaza from a war, because if some of those bombs landed in Israel, they could go right in and wipe them out completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Iron Dome is great. The question is how are some of these missiles and these things getting beyond the Iron Dome, right? How are they getting past it? We know that there's only the way it works is everything works off computers, right? It shoots out like a laser beam, and it finds the missile, and it like the laser beam stays with it, and then it launches the missile to where the target of the laser hits it, so it takes everything out, and that's all computer run and everything. And so the only way around that is through intelligence. The only way around that is people that know how to get past that defense system. We know that it's Iran who are the ones that are funding and passing on that information. Iran's gathering that information from Russia. So I've heard. And so we know that Iran's hands are dirty in this. We know that Russia's hands are dirty in this. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other, bad players that are involved in this type of stuff. But, the Iron Dome can only do so much. It's protected. It's saved, I don't know, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of lives. And it's great. But when it breaks down, and then when they have the intelligence to get through it and get beyond it, now they're hitting hospitals and they're doing other things, right? We see the Hamas missiles that are hitting hospitals, and they don't care. Hamas will go after anybody. A dead Jew is a good Jew, right? That's the way they look at it.
Yeah. And what was crazy, bro, is I was doing some research for this live today, and what blew my mind is Israel is always like, if they're going to blow up, because we all know Hamas is dirty. Hamas will go in and store all their stuff in civilian, like hospital buildings, apartment complexes, and all that stuff. So Israel will contact the landowner, whoever owns the hospital, for instance, the building, and be like, "Hey, we're gonna do this. Get your people out of the building, or get your people out of this area. Get the kids out. Do whatever you have to do to get out of there." And these people will literally tell them, "No, you know what? We'll use this for propaganda. You kill, a child in this family. We're going to use this as propaganda, and we're going to use it to get people to hate you." So to them, a dead child in Hamas or in Gaza is actually they look at it as a benefit because now they have propaganda that they can spread across the entire globe because hey, they kill 15 kids in this building, but not realizing that hey, this is also a strategic operation, and they've actually called them and let them know because there's actually recordings of Israel actually calling and letting them know that this is a situation that's going to go down.
That's right. Yeah, and what do you do if you're Israel? What do you do? I mean, obviously, there's the option of doing nothing and not retaliating, right? And ending the violence. Maybe I don't know if that would end the violence or not. Probably not. But what do you do? You can't if they're going to continue to shoot missiles from the Gaza Strip and they're going to continue just to target anybody and everybody. You've got to stop that, right? You can't just morally allow that to happen. You can do that through surgical strikes, which they're doing. But like you said, they're putting all their munitions and everything else behind a wall of people, typically a wall of kids and a wall of women. It would be like if I was to invade your house, Bear, right? And I was just to blow everybody up in your house, and it's you and a couple of your kids that survive, and I run across the street and I hide in your neighbor's bedroom behind behind a bunch of little kids. You call your neighbor and say, "Hey, listen, get out of the house because I'm coming." And the Palestinians say, "No, you're not leaving the house. You're gonna die with me," or whatever, however you want to put it.
Mhm.
But if you continue to come after my house and my family every couple years for every month or whatever, you're constantly coming after my family, and to protect my family, all I have to do is stop you, and it ends. Then I have to do that. Morally, I have to do that, I believe.
No, you're 100% correct. And after a while, man, if you got think about this, man, Israel has been getting bombed by the Hamas and the Hezbollah for years, probably before I was even born, even before you were born.
Oh yeah.
And it's been consistently going on. Sooner or later, you're gonna get sick and tired of it. And I like I was telling Gator earlier, it would not upset me. It would be sad for the civilians that are left there in the Gaza Strip. But if Israel wanted to go full Death Star and Alderaan the Gaza, it really wouldn't break my heart.
No.
It
No.
really wouldn't. If you get the Star Wars reference.
Yeah. Sorry, I saw Brooke was saying hello, and I was just waving back to her. Yeah, it's been a long time, Brooke. We haven't. I haven't done my channel in a long, long time. I can't tell you the last time I did a political podcast.
It's been years.
Yeah,
Probably.
it's been a long time, and I'm a better man for it.
Yeah, that's fine. You can share the live to whoever you want, Brooke. It's fine.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that I'm at that point, bro, where I'm sick and tired of hearing all these complaints. It's all Israel's fault. It's really not. Sooner or later, you're gonna wake the sleeping giant. Sooner or later, you're gonna stir the pot too much where it's gonna explode.
That's right.
A can of soda can only take so much carbonation before it blows up.
And that's going to happen in our country too. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen in our country when the media is constantly fueling the fire. Right? It doesn't matter if it's Newsmax, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. They're constantly fueling the fire. They want us to be mad, angry, full of vitriol. They want us to hate, and just they want our soul to be consumed with hate so that they can get clicks or they can get views. Right? The more angry we are, the more we tune in, the more we click. Right? And so they're constantly trying to feed us with anger and get us mad at each other and that type of stuff. But we're starting to see, I don't know how much you've been following, like what's going on at the college campuses.
Oh yeah.
There's college campuses all over this country that are having pro-Palestine marches. Now you have babies that have been decapitated, right?
Mhm.
You have women who have been raped. You have people that are being murdered. You've got old people that have been kidnapped that aren't being given any type of their medication. They're not being fed. They're not being taken care of. They're starving to death. They're being treated so badly. And these young idiots, and that's what they are. They're misinformed idiots. They're out protesting in favor of the Palestinian state. They have no idea what's happening. They've just been force fed a bunch of nonsense by these extremely hateful, left wing extremist educators, if you will, lack of a better word. That's what they call themselves. And so now you see these young people that are just spewing hate. And you see at Harvard, I don't know if you saw the story at Harvard, but they came out, they wrote a letter and they all signed the letter about how they approve of what's going on. And then somebody got a hold of that list of names and they rented one of those advertisement trucks.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
Yeah. And they put all their names on this truck and just drove it around campus. And now the media is saying that these poor young college kids were doxxed. No, they put that out there. They put their public information out there and proudly stood behind that letter. And when CEOs started saying, yeah, you know what, we don't want to hire these types of people. We got to blacklist these people. And then someone gets their information and puts it on an advertisement truck. Now they're, oh, woe is me.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. And that goes back to the victim mentality.
Oh, totally.
You go and you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. If you're going to go and support a terrorist organization, you're going to get bit. And that's what happened. It's not our fault that you played the stupid game. Now you have to deal with the consequences of your action. And that's the problem with today's society, this Gen Z. A lot of them don't realize what consequences are.
No, they don't. And unfortunately, they've been taught that by older generations. I mean, they didn't come up with this stuff on their own. They have worked their way through the public education system into a prestigious college. And they've been force-fed this nonsense their entire life. And it's not them teaching it themselves. It's the older generation that's been teaching them this stuff. It is my generation. It is the baby boomers, the hippie generation that have been teaching these young people this nonsense over the past 20, 30 years.
Yeah. And that goes back to that playing stupid game, winning stupid prizes. Yeah. And that's when you stop thinking for yourself and you just follow the popularity contest, because that's what to me, when I look at these kids in college, you're looking at them and all they're doing is they're going with the fad. It's cool to be supporting Palestine because that's what some of the celebrities are saying, support Palestine, support Palestine, support Palestine. Mm-hmm. And now some of these celebrities are hanging these kids out to dry because they're like, oh, we can't do that now because now it's not popular for me. So now you're basically effed. Right. And hanging you out to dry because they're not going to sit there and back you. Taylor Swift isn't going to back you up. She's gonna turn their back on these people and make sure that she sells millions of albums and date Travis Kelce.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And a lot of these Hollywood actors and actresses, they know that in order to get a job, well, they got to be Jewish friendly. I mean, you got all of the people, not all the people, but a lot of the major, film producers and things are Jewish, right? So they're not going to support what's going on by Hamas and all these other lunatics, right? And so all of these people that supported the Palestinians now can't, or they don't work, right? So it's politically inconvenient for them. They don't want to sign off their name on baby beheading. Well, I can tolerate certain things, but when an infant is having their head chopped off with a machete, I just can't put my name on that. I can't, and not that they come out and say anything against it, right? They're just not speaking up at all. Well, and so these young college kids, like you said, are left hung out to dry because they've been told their whole life that the Palestinians are the one that are being
victimized.
Victimized and colonized, right? All these fancy words because the white man colonized America and now the Jews are colonizing Israel. And, it's just part of their little game. It's part of the narrative.
Yeah. And that's, I find that hilarious, and it's sad. It's hilarious and sad at the same time, because a lot of this could go back to the parents. Because if you start instilling the values of what you believe into your children, and instead of having the school system, YouTube, Facebook, raise your kids, and you distill your values in your children, you wouldn't have all these children that are running out and being like this. They would have the values that are instilled in them. Instead, these kids are being raised on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, and they're getting all this stuff mixed into them. And then on top of that, you have the school systems programming your children, and then you wonder where your kids went wrong.
That's right. I mean, in today's society, it is perfectly normal to look at a 5-year-old boy and say, well, my 5-year-old son thinks he's a girl, so we're going to have his testicles removed. We're going to put him on all kinds of blockers. We're going to put him on all kinds of things, right? And the parents are all for that. That's not crazy. But that same 5-year-old comes home and says, hey, mom, a friend of mine invited me to church and they told me about Jesus. And the parent loses it, right? The parent says, oh, no, I'm not going to tolerate that insanity. You're not going to practice Christianity. No way. But if you want to have your testicles removed, I'm all for it. The parents have lost their minds in this country. We've lost our way. Yep. We got to somehow get back to some normalcy. We've got to somehow get back. And hopefully something like this, as tragic as it may seem, and well, as it is, it doesn't seem that way. It is tragic, but as tragic as it is, maybe something good will come from that. Maybe we can recognize the fact that these Palestinian Hamas, they're insane. And I think we can all get behind that. My concern is, just like after 9/11, the patriotism lasted about, 35 minutes. We were all excited. We were all united. We were all hanging our flags until it wasn't cool to do it anymore. So my question is, how long is it not going to be cool to support Israel anymore?
What's crazy, John, is that the culture has shifted. It's starting to shift into the right direction, because you saw what Black Lives Matter did, right? They released that X post with the paratrooper coming in, and
awful.
Oh, dude, it was awful. And people are getting turned off because they've always said that they were this. They always admitted that this is what they stood for, that they were for a free Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
And now you want to sit there and turn your back into it? I got Gator coming up. I'm going to bring Gator on.
Perfect.
Shalom, Gator.
Mazel tov. L'chaim. Look at this guy over here. Where's he at? Look at this guy. That's like a Bigfoot sighting.
I'm just as hairy too, just so you know.
How's it going, brother? How you been?
I've been good, Gator. How about you, buddy?
I'm better than I deserve.
Yeah, me too. I hear you.
I got that line.
So have you heard any?
You know who your twin is?
Who's twin? Who's twin?
John's twin, Dave Ramsey.
Oh. Our bank accounts are not twins.
That's right. I heard.
Yeah.
I was listening a little bit. You guys keep on talking, man. I'll cut in if I got something to add, but you guys are nailing all the points.
So what was your thoughts on that paratrooper post, John?
Yeah, my thoughts on it. Evil. I don't know. It's evil. When you've got a bunch of young people, a bunch of teenagers and young adults at a community festival or music festival, right? Now, granted, I think Israel kind of laxed on security there, but the problem is that typically a normal society like Israel doesn't think like a barbarian, right? So they're not thinking about people coming in on these little ultralight aircrafts with machine guns that are going to land in the middle of a crowd of kids and just start shooting them in the back and forcing them to get stuck in a traffic, into traffic and all that stuff, and then start burning their vehicles down with these kids inside. We don't think like that. And so how do you prepare yourself for that?
You got to prepare yourself.
That's just it, is that what I don't think the general population in our country is prepared to do is understand what's about to happen. The people are living in denial right now. They think that this is just going to stay isolated to this region. I got news for you, man. Easy days are over.
Yeah.
It's over. Y'all, everybody needs to start getting ready to put in some fucking work.
Now, what do you expand on that? So what do you mean by that? Like what?
However you plan, not you individually, but however you plan on supporting this cause, whether it's to have an itchy finger, or if it's to provide medical support, if it's to provide for your neighbors, if it's to hold government accountable even more to make sure that we're doing the right thing, both sides, whether they're prosecuting a war effectively or whether we're ensuring humanitarian rights effectively. We have a duty and a responsibility to conduct a war responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm telling all these people now, it's not if. It's not a matter of if anymore.
It's when.
It's a matter of when. Actually, it's a matter of what time.
Well, they put out, dude, something's going to happen tomorrow.
And then we have some hard questions to ask ourselves as well. What do we do with the Talibs and the Ilhan Omars? What do we do with them?
You get them out. You impeach them.
What do we do? I mean, they have a right to free speech. They have a right to their own beliefs. But if we had a member of Congress during World War II that was supportive of the Nazi Party, outwardly supportive of the Nazi Party, what would we have done?
Well, I mean, not just that, but Japan, right?
The Japanese.
We had
specifically I keep referencing back to Germany because they're the ones that were prosecuting Jews and who are well known for that. We won't talk about the Egyptians or anybody else. We'll talk about the Nazis because that just happened historically yesterday for us, and we can see that. And we have video. We can get all the processes to learn, right, about that very intimately. Whereas we can see it, we can hear it, and we can feel it. We can go to Holocaust museums. We can go to World War II museums and put hands on it. I mean, actually be there in those places and feel it, right? So all the mechanisms for learning are there.
Well, how many during the Red Scare, how many people lost their jobs for being just labeled a communist back in the 50s?
Right.
We didn't tolerate communism back in the 50s. We didn't tolerate Nazism back in the 40s. Like,
now, here's a question: the McCarthy hearings and things like that were they had a purpose, and did they help in a way? Yeah. Was everybody fucking paranoid as shit about everybody being a Soviet? Yeah, just as much as the KGB was paranoid about capitalist pigs being in their society, right? So we have to do due diligence. Understand this: I'm 100% for conducting all-out war against terrorists, against the people that want to commit violence. And with those people, they're not going to play by any rules, and neither should we. I'm not saying commit humanitarian atrocities, but I'm saying the bullshit that we had in Afghanistan, the rules of engagement, you shit like you can't engage somebody even though they shot at you, but now they dropped their weapon and they're no longer a combatant because they put their weapon down and ran away. But 5 seconds ago, they were fucking trying to light you up and shooting at your convoy. Maybe even hit one of your guys.
Yeah.
You can't fucking action people that are actively implanting IEDs.
Well,
or if you see them put an IED in and then they walk away and they don't have a weapon in their hand, you can't engage them. You can't handcuff.
But that goes
anybody like that.
That goes back to what John was saying earlier. I remember being down in Guantanamo Bay and doing work down there, And a lot of the reasons why the work had to stop, and you were there, you weren't in Gitmo, Gator, but you served during that time. The reason why we had to stop doing a lot of the work that we were doing down there was because the mainstream media was gaslighting the entire country, especially when Abu Ghraib hit the fan around that time. The mainstream media is what Brook 420 says. The mainstream media pussifies the country, so we got to get fillings. And we can't sit there and the rules of engagement change based upon what the mainstream media is saying. You know that, Gator.
Did we have pro-Nazi propaganda in America during World War II?
Fuck,
We
no.
did.
Oh, did we?
We did before we entered the war.
First of all, point of history here is the fact that the Nazis learned how to propagate by watching Woodrow Wilson. Okay, they learned how to figure out how to twist the minds of their people because Woodrow Wilson did it in the 19 teens, right, during the World War One. So they learned from that. So we're not we don't have our hands are kind of bloody from that situation.
That's why I love this guy. I'm talking about you.
Oh yeah, I love you too, buddy.
You come with the great hit, like the obscure shit that please continue. I'm going to stop interrupting you.
No. But so Hitler didn't come up with that. That wasn't his idea.
Right.
He learned it from us. Okay. So we have to be careful what we do and then hold people responsible for what we did. We're talking about, do we wrangle people up because they're pro-Palestinian or they're pro-Hamas in this country, right? Like Halib or whatever her name is, and like AOC and all these people spouting off stupid stuff. But then we want to turn around and we want to complain about cancel culture, right? Is it not the same?
Exactly.
So we're walking as a very slippery slope. And one thing that makes our country great is that you said it, we have the freedom of speech. We've got the freedom of religion. If we tie a bomb to our chest, our freedoms go out the window. But we have the freedom of ideas, right? That's what makes X, Twitter, far more powerful than any other social media on this planet, because people are allowed to express their ideas as they see truth. As long as no one is directly dying from it, how do you do it? Like, now I would love through education to educate 99% of the minds in this country so that they see good is good and evil is evil. I would love to do that. That would be amazing. And I would like to keep a handful of leftist idiots around just as a reminder of how idiotic they are, right? So we can look at them and say, yeah, we don't want to be like them. They're nuts, right? We eliminate them off the planet, then we come back to it because we don't realize how insane they were. So we got to leave a handful of them around just so we know, but we can't have this mindset of cancel culture, good for me, but bad for thee.
Right.
We can't do that. So we have to be very, very careful.
We have to do our due diligence to make sure that we as a country walk the line, and we don't go one way, too far one way or the other. We still have to maintain our sensibilities and our compassion towards the human condition. And with that said, going back to the conversation earlier on Fetty's channel, the Palestinian people, get out of there. You guys got to go. Evacuate the area.
Go to
because
Egypt.
you're infected with terrorists. They live among you. Get out, because we're going to kill them. They're going to die. And if you're next to them, you're going to die too. But they had plenty of time to leave. The people in that kibbutz did not have any warning. Nobody. We didn't get a warning on 9/11. We didn't get a warning before Pearl Harbor. We didn't get a warning before half the Maine got sunk. We have to stop thinking that the rest of the world is going to play by our rules and is going to play the game the same way we play it. We can't think that way anymore. 9/11 was a security failure because we forgot the lessons of Pearl Harbor. We forgot the lessons we learned from Al Qaeda years before.
Well, they
We
warned us.
have to continue. Sorry, we have to continue with that knowledge, and we can now see 9/11 wasn't a one-off. It wasn't just an anomaly, one group. These people want the destruction of Israel. They want the destruction of America, and they want the death of all Jews, regardless of percentage. And they want the death of Americans, all Americans, and anybody who doesn't adhere to their extremist form of Islam.
Well, don't forget, bro. They've warned us that something's coming.
They're telling us.
Yeah, and people are still like, no, 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 dude. There's thousands upon thousands of Palestinians here in the United States. You've seen them on New York. You've seen them in Chicago. You've seen them in LA. All it takes is one of them to radicalize to the rest here in the United States, and shit's gonna go bad. It's gonna hit here. You gotta wake up. It's time for us to realize, bro, this is why we needed secure borders and to vet people coming in.
We tried to fucking tell the left side of the house for the last 10 years. After 9/11, we were kind of like, hey, we really got to secure our fucking borders. But for the last 10 years, we've been drilling it home. We have to secure the border. We are at threat. We are at risk of being attacked within. All right. Understand that Israel has nobody's ever invaded Israel's borders before, right? Right?
Not until now, because they got invaded this last time.
Even during the Yom Kippur War, nobody got in. Nobody entered Israeli borders. So that's kind of we got them time. That's a big attaboy for Hamas, right?
Yeah, I think there's been
who
times
else
where
has
they've
not
come
been attacked from within?
Under the tunnels, though, right? Haven't they? Haven't they come through tunnels into Israel?
Yeah. But they've not been invaded in force like that, right? Nobody's invaded Israel. Nobody's invaded America either. Wouldn't that be a nice feather in their cap as well?
Yeah, we have. Emiliano Zapata invaded America.
Sometimes I just want to fucking reach out and
look it up. He did. Him and his riders invaded America.
I think the Native Americans might assume that maybe, the Pilgrims invaded America.
You picking up what I'm throwing down, right? Like we invaded.
I love to annoy the shit out of you when I get every time.
This motherfucker here.
But here's the thing, right? And it kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier. We don't think like savages because we're not savages.
Right.
And so how do we, we can talk about shutting the border, but the border's been wide open forever. Mm-hmm. I mean, this has been something that I debated.
We keep talking about the southern border. Let's not forget Canada either. It's wide the fuck open too.
Totally. Absolutely. Vivek, I think Ramaswamy was up there not too long ago. Yeah. And he talked about how many people are just pouring across.
Yep.
Right. And, so it's happened. It's happened and it's been happening. I've had this debate since the early 90s when I was at Penn State University arguing with radical nuts, right? This is nothing new. They've been around forever. But so what do we do now? How can we prepare for someone to board a plane with a box cutter, literally take over the cockpit and fly a plane into the side of your building? How do you don't think like that, right? So how do you prepare for that? How could Israel have prepared for a bunch of ultralight planes to fly into a musical festival and just start opening fire?
That's why they have the 12th man. There's one guy in the Israeli Knesset that comes up with off the wall fucking ideas.
Yeah, but you're still shooting it,
You're
shooting for the hip.
You're throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks.
Sure.
But with that said, you're saying, how can we, America, how can we now start trying to understand that mindset, right? And how do we plan for that?
How do we plan?
How do you think every military leader that went to Afghanistan or Iraq planned their missions and plan for primary, secondary, and tertiary threats? How do you think we plan for contingencies? Because we got ourselves into that mindset of the enemy. We study the enemy. We understand. This is why it's important to understand Islam, and it's important to understand radicalized Islam and how they actually twist the Quran. It's important to understand the lessons that they have learned from us. It's important to understand the lessons they learned from the Russians and from the British, right, in Afghanistan, right? You know, going back. So we have to take those things into consideration. So when somebody who has spent a good deal of time in this area and is saying to other people who don't have that experience or that perspective, and we tell you this is what they're going to do, or this is what they're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
The sheep out here, these muggles, need to start listening to us. We've experienced this firsthand. We've seen children beheaded. We've seen women burned and beheaded. Not on the fucking news, ladies and gentlemen. We saw it with our own eyes. Been trying to fucking express for decades what these people are capable of. And I'm not saying these people and meaning all Muslims. I'm saying these fanatics.
Radicals.
Mm-hmm.
Radicals, the ISIS, the Hamas, the Hezbollah. All of these, the Quds force. Iran as a whole.
And take them at their word. If they say they're going to fucking do something, they're going to
fucking do it. They don't make empty threats. If they say they're going to do something, it's because they're trying to plan exactly what they're talking about.
So you got one of the most popular presidents in history, Obama. He comes out and he says that ISIS, or ISIL, as he put it, was the B team. Not to worry about ISIS. Don't worry about those guys. They're the B team. And then they come out and they terrorize everyone.
Shit, Jihadi John was killing people left and right.
Right. You know, so
wasn't he British?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He was a British citizen over there fighting with ISIS. And we're not paying attention to the Ilhan Homars and the Talibs and the people in Times Square and the motherfuckers in the colleges when they say that they 100% support Hamas and that they believe in what they're doing is right. And we don't fucking sit here and go, if they think that's okay, what is to stop them from doing it here? If that is accepted behavior in their eyes, that is accepted behavior.
Mm-hmm. See, the problem is that the poison is all the way at the top, right? We had that young man, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. You guys probably remember that he bailed. He bailed on the United States military and went and joined ISIS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was Obama who traded like 3 or 4 terrorists out of Gitmo to get this
piece of
guy
shit
back. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got the poison runs to the top. And like Mickey says, she makes a great point. She said, you start talking about, well, what if they did this or they did that? People start calling you a conspiracy theorist. You can't speak freely about it. What's that?
We ain't been wrong yet.
No, but people aren't listening. So, and this is why it's got to take forever. It's going to take a long change, but we've got people that are in charge of academia teaching our kids that Palestine is, needs to be freed and they're occupied, which Israel hasn't occupied the West Bank, I think, since 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I think is when they pulled out.
Why did they pull out? Why'd they pull out?
I would imagine some sort of peace agreement.
There you go. So they ceded the territory and said, we'll fucking back out. Just stop attacking us.
Right.
And what they do?
Attacked them.
Sorry, John, go ahead.
No, but you have 50% of this country that has been taught lies from the minute they came out of the womb. And now they're young adults, they're in college, they're graduated, whatever, they're in their 20s, 30s, and they still believe this nonsense because it was force fed to them from the womb up until they finished grad school. in its one ideology. And how do you reverse that? How do you say, like Gator, you say, listen, we know this is going to happen. We know these are bad people. And in their mind, they are trained robots to turn around and say, Gator, you are a racist. They can't think beyond out of a wet paper bag. They have no ability to think, no ability to reason, no ability and no desire to look at history. They can see a baby beheaded right in front of them and feel sorry for the person that did it.
And you want to know how we can help these kids understand? The same mindset, the same kinds of kids that they have at Harvard that are saying Palestinians Palestine's been mistreated, the same kids that are protesting across the nation saying, oh, they should have a right, blah, 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 are the same fucking kids that were in that kibbutz that the Hamas came in and killed. Same type of kids. Mm-hmm. The reason they lived where they lived was to be a buffer between Israel and Palestine, because they wanted to make peace with Hamas. There were hippie kids who didn't like war, who didn't want to hurt innocent civilians. And now some of them don't have a fucking head. And some of them have been burned alive. And their grandmothers who were Holocaust survivors are now dragged off into Palestine. They could be in Iran by now.
Or dead.
I'm going to tell you right now, I have zero confidence that a single hostage will come home.
They're not.
I'm sorry. Zero confidence. They're gonna murder them all if they're not already dead.
Mm-hmm.
So on
TV.
Something just came across Gaza. Remember we were talking about going to Egypt from Gaza? To keep the Gazians out, Egypt built a massive parallel wall and super strength steel underground wall. One wall is made of concrete, goes 20 feet high and underground. The other is stone. In addition to the above and ground walls, the area is patrolled by the military. There's only one checkpoint to get in and out of the country.
Yeah, because they don't want Hamas in their country.
Nope.
Surprising. I'm shocked. But I guarantee if it's a humanitarian crisis, they're going to let the Palestinian people in. If not, they'll set up camps up against that wall. And guess what Israel won't do?
Attack the wall.
Attack those camps where the refugees are. In fact, once they eliminate Hamas from the area, Israel will probably come in and rebuild Gaza. The infrastructure, the buildings, the power, the water, the internet. They'll probably come in and try and help them.
With our tax dollars.
Because we have to help the Palestinian people. We're not helping.
Which I don't oppose.
We have to help the Palestinian people.
I don't oppose that.
I understand. I appreciate the compassion that the persona that our country is compassionate towards refugees and the displaced. If it was coming from a place of the pure, I'd be cool with it. But it's not. It comes from a place of political, and that's it. There are no pure intentions. People like me and John and Bear, we're going to want to help people that are fucked. That's who we are.
But that's the thing, though, man, is that this has been going on forever. I don't ever think there's been a time in my life where there's been peace between Israel and Gaza or Iran. Mm-hmm. It's always been pure chaos.
It's been chaos for 5,000 years.
Exactly. Since the split.
Since Hagar and Ishmael.
That's right. There's been contention since then.
That's right. I mean, if you think about it, Moses, took him 40 years to get to the border, and he finally, the Israelites finally make it into the promised land, and the first thing they do is attack Jericho. And they've been at war since.
Yep.
But it comes to a point, man, when you're looking at all this garbage that's going on there, all this stuff that everybody's saying, and especially here in the United States, they're using all this political garbage in Israel to keep us split apart as well.
I hope so, Brooke.
Egypt will let women and children in. Yeah, I really think that they would let them in Egypt.
I think they would.
I hope so.
Especially with the United States saying, hey, not telling you what to do, but we'd take it as a personal favor.
And if they have to be, cavity searched,
I don't give a shit.
Cavity
X-ray every one
searching.
of them.
yeah.
Well, we started moving a cruiser into the waters over there.
There's a whole nother task carrier task force coming.
Yeah,
Carrier
so
coming.
Yeah.
we're showing that
Fuck
we're at
around,
least
find out.
yeah, we're showing strength out there. So
We're trying to keep the rest of the lunatics at bay, right?
show a force.
We're trying to keep the lunatics at bay. We got Hezbollah up there. They're already bombing northern Israel. And we know that I think it's through Syria that more lunatics can come in from the east, right? And they can attack Israel. And if they come in from multiple fronts, then they're going to overload Israel's military. And so we have to be there. I mean, I hate to say it, but unfortunately, we've become the world's police state. That is who we are. I don't know if we should have ever got involved from the beginning. I don't know that you can have that philosophical argument, but it's moot. The point is that that's who we are. And we can't stand by and let innocent people be beheaded. You just can't. And raped and everything else that's going on. Now, I know there's other people will say, well, there's other countries, and it's true. And there are. United States is very selective when it comes to moral outrage. And so we've got to get better at that too.
Amen.
Right? When there are tribes and tribes of Africans that are being raped and mutilated, and we just ignore it, that's a problem. And so that's what gives the left a stronghold to come in and say, well, United States is a racist nation, right? So we've got to stop doing that stuff. We got to stop feeding into that. And so we're either the police officers of the entire city
and rule and police with neutrality. That's what you have to do.
Neutrality, right? Over in Chicago, they've got a policing problem because the police, they go over and they monitor all the nice areas of Chicago, but southern Chicago's left as a war zone, right? And who lives in South Chicago? African American people, and they're killing each other over there, and nobody cares about them. But the mayor of Chicago, her street, there's going to be a cop that goes up and down 10 times a day, just making sure that her gated community is safe. That's who we've become as a nation. And we've got to be careful with that. So how do we change that? How do we police the entire world?
Well, I have a feeling that the mindset of America is about to change.
Has to.
Not voluntarily.
This could easily.
We are going to be in a 9/12 mindset. After tomorrow or after Halloween or Thanksgiving or Christmas or whenever we do get hit, it's going to be so devastating that it's going to be the smack in the face that this country needs to wake the fuck up. We got lulled to sleep with 20 years of war and just news clips and sound bites and guys coming home and telling stories, but it just became a fucking TV show.
I think when the leader of the Hamas said straight up, shit's going down on 10/13.
Take him at their word.
I take him at his word. Something's gonna. I've already told my kids we're not doing nothing this weekend. We're not doing nothing because we're not going to get caught out there. And I don't even live anywhere. I don't think there's any Palestinians around here, but I live close to targets where things could happen. I live really close to some targets. You know, NORAD is right up the street. There's other places right up the street from me. So
Cousin Eddie's farm, ain't far from you?
Yeah, Cousin Eddie's farm is right down the block from me.
But here's the thing about those. Those are hard targets. They're not going to go after hard targets. They're going to go after soft targets like schools,
That's right.
Churches, synagogues.
So here in my town, believe it or not, there's a huge country Western music fest that starts tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
you know, and there's going to, dude, anybody can go to it as long as you have your $200 ticket for the weekend. Anybody can get in. They're not policing anything. It's wide open. You're not going to be going through metal detectors, and it's in a huge park. It's a potential target, and that's scary, and that's sad that we have to think that way. But that goes back to what I was saying. We have to think like savages. Otherwise, we're going to be the victim of a savage.
You know, I had this conversation the other day. I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that I have a little touch of PTSD. I don't think anybody here is fucking shocked by this revelation.
I'm completely shocked.
Like I talked to you about earlier, Bear, about this. Part of my PTSD trauma is I'm overly cautious. My spidey senses are always going off. I'm watching everybody. I'm watching everything. I'm listening to conversations that I'm not in over here if they start rising above a certain decibel level. I'm talking to you, but I'm watching this. I'm very security conscious about my house. There's cameras here. There's dogs here. There's lots of things here that people don't want. And that's my, you know, I said this the other day to the person I was talking to. I know that my overly cautious and overly security minded self is probably irrational. And I know it's irrational. Do I think there's going to be, you know, part of my triggers are trash on the side of the road, dead animal on the side of the road. We have lots of deer here. Every time I see a dead animal, I verge
because
I go to the other lane. All right. I see things that a lot of people are like, it's probably nothing. It might be nothing. A lot of things were probably nothing downrange, like drainage pipes, bag of trash, an overpass. You know, these things are all just normal things. And so when you see normal things, you don't see threats. When I see normal things, I look for the threats that are in there. Now, the thing with Afghanistan is people say, how do you survive? Well, you have to look for the unusual in the land of the unusual. Look for things that are out of place, is what they used to say. This whole fucking place is out of place. There's not a thing here that's right. How am I supposed to differentiate between what's normal here and what's not normal here, right?
Right.
So we had to learn these things over a long time. And so when I come home and I'm like this, people are like, why are you so paranoid? Or why are you so conspiracy minded? Or why are you so security conscious? It's about to pay off though, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But
and I will say this, going to touch on the way my channel has gone. If you haven't supported reforming the veteran affairs, don't fucking call me for help.
That's true. That's true. Veterans, we should be protecting our veterans a lot more, and the VA is.
Oh, but in the next couple of weeks, they're going to fucking love us. Oh my God. Veteran service member. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Go mighty gods of war.
You know,
what can we do to help you? How about you fuck off? Since my brothers and sisters are dying at 22 plus 37% a day. You haven't fucking addressed that. We weren't gods of war and you know, protected class a couple weeks ago. But when the motherfucking fecal matter hits the oscillating rotator in a couple weeks, boy, you're going to be begging for fucking the Gators and the Bears and the Johns to fucking come help you. Fuck off.
Just for the record, I did not serve.
I don't, I know, but you're still, you're a pipe hitter. You're picking up what I'm throwing down.
Yeah, you know, this thing is in the town I live in, they're pushing this country music festival like crazy all over Phoenix. And I don't even live in Phoenix. I'm on the outskirts. And they're pushing it all over town. So it's going to be loaded with people. And then I believe on the 11th of November, we're having a Veterans Day parade. And you'll see a handful of people. They're not advertising it. They're not.
And who's going to
pushing
be
it.
out there?
The veterans will be there.
So the people that could possibly stand up and help defend if we were attacked.
That's right. But there won't be support from the community. Maybe there will be this year, because maybe if all hell breaks loose, maybe there will be some respect for the veterans again, like you're saying, Gator. But if everything stays a status quo, we have 2 miles of parade route, and there might be 200 people out there cheering us on in a town of 90,000 people.
Soft target.
Yep.
They're not going after hard targets. They're not going to go after big cities, guys.
Oh no.
This is about showing you that they can touch us anywhere, small towns.
I think it's going to be synagogues. They're going to go after synagogues
And churches, yeah.
and churches, because those are
Yeah.
going to be the easiest targets.
I think they're going to go after kids.
Schools.
Yep.
Get
Or that's why Halloween is sticking out in my mind, man. I think they're going to go after kids, and it's really easy to blend into a crowd when everybody's dressed like a fucking freak.
Go hug a cactus. It is the Wild West Country Fest.
Go hug a cactus.
Go hug a cactus.
I was like, what the fuck's he talking about? Legit, go hug a cactus.
Or go hug a swallow. Maybe it looks like a swallow, and so that would be appropriate. But yeah, so I mean, they're pushing this thing like crazy, and the only way you know about the Veterans Day parade is if somebody is in the parade and they tell you about it.
Oh,
Hey, let me hit Mickey real quick. I'm conflicted about that. I can see how it's not a healthy thing to be that way, but I also see how that's the best way to protect yourself and your family. Question everything and everyone. It causes a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. It's hard to relax and enjoy things, especially when you're in big crowds. I like concerts. I love concerts. But when I go to a concert, I'm looking at waistbands. I'm looking at all sorts of shit, man.
I'm the same.
My eyes don't stop scanning the crowd.
Yeah, so
I think there's footage of an event in Louisville, Kentucky, where a certain gator was in a large crowd. And if you watch that gator's eyes, he's doing one thing.
Scanning.
Nonstop.
When it comes to... So what do you think... this is going to both of you guys. What do you guys think would cause... What kind of event would cause the United States to really put boots on the ground in Hamas or Israel? What do you guys think it would take to get the United States involved, where Congress and the Senate would be like, okay?
Well, let's see what happens here in the next couple of days and what excuse they come up with. Because we're going to go. Look, we're going.
If it is politically advantageous.
That's right. Biden needs this.
That's right. If it's politically advantageous, in other words, which way is the wind blowing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because up until now, I've never seen the Democratic Party be so pro-Israel. I've never seen that before. And so something doesn't smell right. And so I'm not... something in my spidey senses, right? Something in my gut is telling me that something just doesn't seem right. As if they already know something, right?
No, our government wouldn't do that.
I mean, isn't it strange? Isn't it odd that just a couple weeks ago, the Biden administration decided that, yeah, maybe building the wall we're going to go ahead and finish the wall.
Surprise.
And now they're hiding behind, well, we don't want to break the law, right? Congress has allocated this money to the wall. We've tried to change their mind. We don't want to build the wall, but they've allocated the money to the wall, so therefore we have to build the wall. Isn't it odd that can be a nice, convenient excuse now? When all hell breaks loose, they can say, well, we're building the wall. We're trying to do our part, right? Isn't that... It's just, I don't know, maybe it's my paranoia. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just my I just cannot stand politicians. I don't think anything they say to us ever, regardless of what side of the aisle it's on, is actually genuine and legitimate. They're all liars. But I just find it incredibly coincidental. The timing is unbelievable.
This showed up on my Facebook feed earlier today, and I am the meme lord.
You are
I'm the lord of all meme lords. So I don't usually farm other people's memes. But this came across my feed and it just struck me, and I thought, you're fucking absolutely right. And the question is, what's the weirdest thing about American culture? What's the weirdest thing about American culture? And somebody responded, every 20 years or so, they declassify a file that says, you're right, we did it. What are you going to do about it?
True.
Right?
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that meme is not 100% correct.
No, you're absolutely right. So you think it's 100% certainty we're going into Israel, or
it's 100% certainty we're going to get attacked. It's 100% certainty that we're going to have to respond.
Do you think that will draw in Russia and China?
I hope so.
You motherfucker.
No, I think
really
the war.
So. If we're gonna fucking clean house, let's clean every motherfucking room in the house.
I think the war is going to be with Iran. That's where it's going to be escalated. Because let's face it, we could go into the West Bank and we could literally in 10 minutes, we would be done there. We could send a single SEAL team into the West Bank and we could clean it out. It's like a clogged toilet, literally. The plumber would come in and they would have it taken care of in about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
for about $400.
In Gaza would be another 5 minutes.
And that's what did I say? I thought I meant,
You said the West Bank.
I'm sorry, Gaza. Yeah.
Look, all the guys that fought in Fallujah, the Marines that were in Fallujah, all the soldiers, the army dudes that were in Fallujah fighting alongside the Marines, let them go in there. They would love to fucking get that frustration out.
Yeah.
And that's their fight. That was their kind of fight. Anybody who served in Iraq would be extremely comfortable fighting in an urban area like that. I mean, I say comfortable, not comfortable, but they probably have the best tools in their toolbox and the most experience doing that.
But here's the problem that I'm seeing with us getting into a war. I know it's probably going to happen. I know it's going to go do with it. But our military at this time, granted, we are the greatest military on the planet. We're weak right now. We lost a lot of soldiers, sailors, and Marines when they didn't want to take the jab. And it's a lot of the soldiers that you're talking about, Gator. A lot of the soldiers from our time are gone because they kicked them out because of the jab.
Because of the jab, or because they were too old school and they didn't conform to the new fucking social justice ideology the army's pushing. And so if you were an old school soldier and you weren't going to fucking play ball, see you later.
Wait, are you talking about like the multi-gendered flight suits?
Yeah.
That people weren't.
So they're trying to force diversity down the throat of probably the most diverse workforce in the world. And people that are in that workforce don't look at each other as black or white or male or female or straight or gay. Like I said before, I've never once seen, experienced, heard, a firsthand account from anybody about racism in the military. Not once did I ever see that or experience that in 30 fucking years.
It's not important.
It's not who joins.
Right.
It's not the mindset. We go into that black, white, straight, gay, male, female, Asian, whatever. We go into it because we want to support our country and we are willing to join that team and be a part of one team.
That's right.
And so the government, because these politicians have never served, and these motherfuckers don't understand that you can have this demographic that doesn't give a fuck about social justice or diversity, because it's not a consideration or concern for us. Not in the fact that we ignore it or don't appreciate it. It's because it's not a problem for us.
If you remember back in the early 90s, the Citadel had to open up to women. Remember that?
Yep.
And they said, how can the Citadel cannot be a man only thing? They've got to have women, and they've got to make this and make all these consignments. And they had this one chick there who had to be in the Citadel, and it was going to make the Citadel stronger. And all these women were going to sign up. And so they changed all the rules, and they let this broad in. She couldn't do 5 push-ups, so they kicked her out, and nobody else showed up.
Nope.
It was a social experiment. It was something to whine about. It was something to throw a fit about. And then when no women showed up to join the Citadel, they just dropped the story. And that's how the military is. I assume. I wasn't there, but I can't see a long line of transgender dudes showing up to go fight in Iran. They're not going to be there.
My thing is, but that's but what the point I was getting at with that conversation was, they're going to end up doing a draft. If it gets bad, there's going to be a draft. We don't have the fighting force to go.
I think Israel drafted 350,000 people, right?
They did, but if America gets drawn into that war, we're drafting.
You think so?
Oh, dude, it's going to break out.
That'll be political suicide for whoever pulls that trigger.
Who else is going to fight that war? Who else are we going to get to fight that war?
Robots, drones. I don't know.
But that's the problem. Somebody's going to have to go boots on ground. And with as weak as our military is, because they kicked out or forced people out of that military, while we're going to get our asses whooped.
Well, France will have to be there. England will have to be there. Germany will have to be there. All of our buddies will have to be there. And because America can't go it alone.
Just so you know, I'm watching the fucking Fox News, and they're showing people in the streets, not just saying we support Palestine or we support Hamas. They're now yelling Intifada.
Really?
I don't know what that is.
It's like jihad.
Oh.
So
I thought that was something off a food truck.
Telling you, it's going down tomorrow.
They're in our streets.
Oh, and by the way, those people carry swastika signs.
Yeah.
They wave the swastika flag, and the media doesn't care. Now, if a biker shows up, right, to the biker bar and he's got a swastika on his back or his shoulder.
All bikers are bad. Hang on.
Yeah. He's a racist, right? He's a Nazi. He's got a swastika and he probably is. Let's not lie, right? There's probably something going on there. You don't just tattoo a swastika on your back and think it's okay. But when they ignore flags that are 6 foot by 8 foot swastika flags, and they're flying them in New York City and Chicago and LA and everywhere else in this country, and the media purposely doesn't show that, that's a problem. And that's what I'm saying. The media, and we have to be very careful of who we watch, what we believe. And if it gets us to the point where we're fuming inside, we got to turn it off. We can't let the media turn us into to the savages that we oppose.
No, I completely agree with you. And that's where we're headed is I don't know, man. Like I said, dude, I really think we're going to end up in a I think they're going to draft.
I don't know. I think a draft would be I don't think that's a pill the American public could swallow, but I don't know. I mean, if they tell the lie long enough, people will believe it.
What do you think, Gator? Do you think it'll be a draft?
I don't think we're going to need one in a minute.
They're gonna be.
I think we're gonna have a fuck ton of volunteers here shortly.
Oh well, that's 9/11. 9/11. We got a fuck ton of volunteers.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's what I would think would normally happen here is if we get attacked and then somebody, everybody says, fuck this, and then they decide to step up and, take the fight on. But that was 20 years ago.
That's true. And that was a different America. But do you see where I'm going with it though? With the possibility that's out there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's always a possibility of that.
I think if we don't get enough volunteers, we're going to have a draft, and they're going to start recalling soldiers that have retired, and they're going to start recalling people out of the IRR.
And all of a sudden, it's going to be, oh, don't worry about the jab. You're fine.
They're going to start calling people that have never served. Not it. Not it. Not it.
There's it.
Nose goes, baby. Nose goes. I'm going to protect my family. I'm going to protect what I love. Because, I mean, I'm not being a dick, but I spent over half my life fighting and protecting everybody else. And then I came home and everybody acted like they didn't give a fuck that we were all fucked up. So don't expect much out of us. We're going to take care of our own. But y'all should have thought of that earlier before you just tossed us in the fucking waste bin like we were discarded trash.
I am seriously sick and tired of how pantsified that this country has gotten, dude. Like, unfortunately, like our grandparents' generation, they weren't this soft, bro. It's insane on how soft this country has gotten.
The generation that we have now, that somebody said, I wonder what our kids are going to be like when they're older. It might have been Fetty or somebody was asking that question. What are our kids going to end up being like when they're older? You want to know what they're going to be like? They're going to be like our great grandparents and our grandparents, because they are about to go through a period of nothingness, having nothing, not knowing nothing, an extreme lack is what they're about to go through. These children in this country, people on our peers, John, our peers, Bears peers, have gotten very, very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about to end.
You're going to have thousands of transgendered kids running around saying, man, I wish I would have kept my penis.
I did not expect that.
This guy right here. Thank you, Mickey.
Really
And
questioning
look, guys,
my thoughts.
folks, I'm not talking about, you. I know you guys support us, and I know that, since I put this call out about the VA, you guys have been on top of it and pushing now that you've been made aware. But all these other people that know what's going on and they don't give a fuck. Part of the reason that we don't have part of the reason we have a recruiting shortage is that people like me, the legacies, because I'm a legacy, right? All the generations in my family, oddly enough, adoptive and biological, all served. My generation, the legacies, we all served, but it started to filter off a little bit, right? Not all of us served.
Yeah, I think the younger generation, I'm sorry.
I had a brain fart. The reason that our military is hurting is because the legacies like myself, am I going to let my kids go fight a war, which I would, go join the military and serve your country, which I would be 100% for. It would be expected in my family. But then you turn around and consider the way I got treated when I got back.
Yeah.
Not by the people, but by the government. The people that were tasked with hope and recovery. and relieving our anxiety and healing our wounds. You think I'm going to put my kids through the same shit?
V8.
No. And none of us are doing it.
What's insane, bro, is these mother truckers are literally going into these people's houses with GoPros on and filming all this.
It says they rescued 250 hostages.
Do you buy it?
I don't know if that was during the attack. I think is probably what they're talking about.
I
Because
don't.
they did have to liberate a couple of police stations and bases.
In Israel or in Gaza?
Israel.
What's crazy about all this, bro, is these motherfuckers are going into these people's houses, kicking down their safety doors and pulling out families. And what I was saying on Fetty's channel, dude, I don't know if you guys understood what I was talking about when I said that the Hamas were soiling these women and children, these teenagers and even these babies. Babies. Do you know what soiling means? Do you know what soiling means?
I soiled my pants once.
Do you know what soiling means, Gator?
Not in the I don't know what context you're using it in.
What that means is they're soiling them for their husbands.
Oh.
A lot of these women, these babies, some Jewish guy probably won't marry them because they've had intercourse with either a Muslim or they're no longer clean or pure. That's what they're doing to babies. Babies.
Yeah.
Same mindset as prima nocta.
Yeah. And these teenage little girls, when they're pulling, and they have them on video, they captured one of these Hamas guys and they asked them what's going on to these victims that are kidnapped in Gaza. And that's what he said, that they're soiling them.
But yet when the Soviet Union went into Afghanistan and instructed their soldiers to rape Afghan women to infuse Russian genes into their gene pool, we raged as a nation. But all I hear are crickets.
Yep.
If that doesn't piss you off, knowing that these people are going into these people's homes, innocent people, not military strategic areas, they're not doing this to somebody that volunteered and is in the military and gets captured. No, they're going into civilian homes, pulling these people out of their safety bunkers and are doing this to them, watching them kill an 18-year-old girl with the little 5-year-old brother watching. That's what the Hamas are doing.
They brought equipment and weapons specifically designed to enter bunkers of civilians. I want you to, do I need to say it again? I want you to understand this. They brought equipment and weapons specifically designed to get into those bunkers to get these people. And if they couldn't get them out, they burned the house down with the people inside.
Think Waco.
Yeah, it's so how do you, I mean, my question is, obviously with these people, you have to exterminate them, right? Because they're not going to change their mindsets and they're going to continue doing this type of stuff. You got to exterminate them. But what do you do with the 20-year-old brain full of oatmeal in college who supports these people? That's my question.
They need to be shunned from society.
Yeah.
Especially
shunned. No fucking job. Kicked out of school. All the shit that the left talks about doing to conservatives. Taking our livelihoods away. Shutting down our businesses. Kicking us out of government. These are the motherfuckers that you need to be doing it to. The people that are condoning this kind of behavior. Because never once have I heard conservatives ever say we need to do X, Y, and Z like this. Have you?
No, they typically take the high road, right? The moral high ground.
But where's the outrage on the left of their own? We condemn racism. We condemn white supremacy. Don't we?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. If a conservative comes out and is found out to be just a dirtbag, we shun
We
them.
wolfpack his ass.
That's right.
Just like we would have done in the military. If we had seen something like that, that's why it doesn't happen in the military, because you will get your fucking ass beat bad by everybody, not the person that you're being a dick to. If I had seen somebody being a dick to another race, we all would have jumped that guy.
Pillow
and the other
party.
person could have sat there and watched.
Pillow party.
Yeah,
But
Mickey's talking about Clockwork Orange and people.
Do what?
You know,
Force them into a Clockwork Orange situation.
I don't know how that actor sat there like that, dude.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say this, bro. They need to make Gaza Alderaan. Say it again. Make Gaza Alderaan.
And for anybody who was in the earlier stream on another channel that said, show me the proof, show me the videos, Israel releases images of slain children. There you go, buddy. There you go. Mr.
How do you,
Mr. Protector of the synagogues?
How do you avoid becoming, turning into the monsters they are? You know what I'm saying?
It's very, very difficult, John. I'm going to tell you that right now. It is extremely difficult not to rage.
Mm-hmm.
And
we don't want to be those people,
just
right?
Go Kubla Khan on motherfuckers.
Yeah, we don't want to become that.
We do not, and you cannot become that. That's what I'm saying. We have to do due diligence to ensure we don't go overboard. But this needs to be surgical in nature, and we need to completely remove every bit of cancer in the world. This terrorism is a cancer. But we have to ensure to protect the rest of the organism.
Yeah, that's it. It's got to be surgically done.
And it is, and like Brook 420 says, it is a fine line. It is. It's a very fine line, but sooner or later, this needs to stop. What you're watching to the right needs to stop. And if any other country wants it, they can come get it too. We're back to back.
Going into what we were saying, John. When you pull somebody out of a truck and go to lift him out of the truck and his legs come off, and the other guys are out looking for bits and pieces of the gunner. Do you know how hard it is not to go play cool on somebody?
Oh, I can't imagine.
It's very hard. And then you're the leader. You're in charge of these guys, and you have to be like, guys, we just need to keep our fucking composure. Don't.
And that's why I make it. I put it out there. I don't ever want anyone to think that I served in any capacity, because I did not. And I could never put myself into that situation and say, well, this is what I would do. Right. I don't want to be Mr. Morality and say, this is what I would do if I was in that situation. And, you got to turn the other cheek. You got to what? Although those are the right things to do, right? You don't want to be that monster.
You cannot be the evil that you're trying to defeat.
Right.
But, even now you're saying, I don't know what I would do in that situation. I don't either anymore, John.
Me neither.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do in that situation anymore, because I have so much rage in me now. Right. Because I've had the chance to come home and look back and think about the failures and the missteps and the missed opportunities I would have a hard time. I don't know what I would do in that situation anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean,
I would hope that I would maintain my sense of humanity and Christianity. I would hope that I maintain my sense of who I really am. But I don't know anymore.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy for people, especially the big mouth politicians, to sit and control everything from their safe environments and make all these comments and be all over TV. But if they were in the middle of it, what would they do? What would they do? There was a guy, I think he was on Newsmax yesterday. He was talking about he was in the special forces, and he was the one that was breaking down doors, and he was storming, right? And he watched a lot of his brothers that when you kick a door in, you don't know you don't know what's on the other side of that door. And you've got a split second to react, right? You've got a split second to make a decision. And some of these guys, they see someone run across a room, they kick a door in, they see someone run across the room, and they fire. And that person isn't armed. That person doesn't have any type of military outfit on, but
neither does the enemy.
Neither does the enemy, right? That person might have been the enemy. That person might have left her AK in the other room, and she was out of bullets, so she decides she's going to try to escape, right?
Knowing our rules of engagement, if she drops that weapon, we can't do anything to her.
You can't do it. So this guy busts the door, and someone breaks across the hallway. He takes him or her out, and now it's court-martialed. And see that, and his point is this: we have to stop doing that. It's just like here in the United States, in states when they go after police officers for making a split second decision, right? A split second decision. They're trying to tackle a guy. They're trying to hold this guy down. He dies, whatever. Doesn't matter the fact that he's all methed out or coked out or, whatever. None of that matters. It's the fact that this cop reacted. But we've got to stop going after the people that are putting their butts on the line for us.
Until you're ready to go out there and do it, shut the fuck up. Until you want to get on the field and play ball, do not armchair quarterback any one of us.
That's right. And we look at stuff like this, Gator and Bear, like we're watching a football game.
Yep.
There's no difference in our mind, right? Oh, he should have thrown a block. He should have done this. He missed his block. What a bum. But you're not out there.
If you're so good at coaching football, get out there and fucking coach.
Do it or play. The people in our country, and it's got, obviously this is a perfect world situation. I don't know if it's going to change, but the politicians and the media, they just need to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. There's stages of the media. When this first happened, it was like, this happened. This is what occurred. We think these are the people that did it. And then stage 2 is, yes, this is what occurred, and these are the people that did it. And now we're in the stage of, this is what happened. These are the people that did it, and this is how you need to think about it. Right? I'm watching Newsmax, and all day today, it's not about what happened. It's about you gotta blame Biden. It's the Biden administration's fault. And then you click the channel and it's the conservatives' fault. It's Trump's fault. It's right. They're beyond telling us what happened. It's now time to tell us what to think and how to think about it. And that's where they cross the line.
And the media, I appreciate the battlefield reporting. They're doing great. They're awesome. But they don't need to be embedded with military units.
Mm-mm.
You don't. It was 5 or 6 times. My commander was like, "Hey, I need to embed some media with you." The fuck you are? What do you mean, Sergeant? You're not putting fucking media people in my fucking trucks. I need room for ammo and fighters and water. Unless they're gonna fucking pick up a weapon,
they're non-combatants.
They're not coming with me. This ain't no fucking tour ride. This isn't Lion Country fucking safari.
Because they're non-combatants.
You want to cover the fucking war? Go out in the desert on your own. Shoot. Go out there and watch from a distance, like they used to watch during the Revolutionary War from the hills. But you're not coming in with me because I'm not going to have you second guessing my fucking decisions or the decisions of my men and women that are fighting with me. Because we're going to be talking shit. We're going to say fucked up stuff. We're probably going to do fucked up stuff. It's war. All of you people do not need to see the play-by-play. As great as the ratings are, and as much as the public demands to see the fucking dirty laundry, the blood and guts, the fucking wounded soldiers, and the dead enemy, stay the fuck out of it. You don't need to see it. Stop demanding that. Stop wanting to see what's happening on the battlefield because you're making it harder for the rest of us to have to fight wars. Well, the guys that are doing it now, because it ain't me. Y'all can suck a dick.
I just think that it's
suck 2 dicks.
I don't know, man. This war that is about to happen is it's not going to be pretty, bro.
No.
This
Not
is
when you're messing with lunatics with nukes. You see, like, because in our mind we have nuclear weapons, but in reality, would we ever use them? Right?
Not anymore. Not again. They're a deterrent. That's all.
They can't wait to use them.
Yeah.
Because they don't mind getting cooked.
They can't wait to use them against Jews and us.
Exactly.
It's not just get to use them. They want to use them specifically on us and Israel.
And you get a nuclear weapon into the hand of Hamas, they're not going to hesitate to use it, whether it's a dirty bomb or whatever. They'll ride it. I mean, they'll put a saddle on it and ride it into the explosion because they got the promised virgins and all that other stuff up waiting for them. They can't wait. They're lunatics, man.
No, they really are. I think all three of us have always had hats on.
I always wear a hat. Otherwise I get the glare,
Yeah. I mean, after 9/11, they probably the whole purpose of that was to strike fear into America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did it work?
No, it band us together. Actually,
you think they learned anything from that?
No.
No. They absolutely did.
Them or us?
Them.
Oh yeah, they learned from. Yeah, they did. They
learned that knocking some buildings down, some high-profile buildings, isn't going to scare us because you just hit it one time and it came down and caused a bunch of death in one fell swoop.
And then it brought us together. What happens when they keep hitting us? What happens when this cell hits this school and that cell hits that fucking mosque or synagogue and that cell over there hits a fucking college and this cell over here goes after a fucking daycare and that cell goes after a police department? What's that going to do? It's going to have all these motherfuckers running around bumping into each other.
I don't know if they do that type of stuff to put fear into us, or if they simply do it to wipe what they believe is evil off the face of the earth to impress their God. I think we look at it from a secular perspective. They're looking at it from a purely religious perspective.
It's fanatical religion. Yeah,
it is fanatical religion. And so when 3,000 people die with the Twin Towers falling, one, they knew that it was going to hurt us economically because I don't know if it's so much about fear as it is just to hurt us and kill us.
Well, you got to remember we're what's that word? We're not jihadists.
We're the great Satan.
Yeah, we're the white devil.
Yeah.
But there's another word that they have.
They call us the great Satan, and Israel is the I don't know. I don't know if what they call it. It's something that we are the great Satan, something like that. It is purely religious fanaticism. And so they will do anything and everything to kill.
And they're all brainwashed. That's one thing a lot of people don't realize, man. They're brainwashed.
Think about this, Bear. And this is my analogy. You walk into your kitchen and you have, I don't know, 200 cockroaches. Do you want to scare them so they run away, or do you want to kill them all?
Kill them all.
They see us as cockroaches.
Less than cockroaches, actually.
Because they don't want us to come back the next day when you turn the lights out. They want us dead. They want to bug bomb the entire country of Israel.
How many of the guys that you had at Gitmo did you see reformed, rehabilitated?
We're infidels.
Infidels.
None. Not a single one.
None of them came out and were like, man, we fucked up. We're sorry. We were bad.
They would come. Here's the thing. While I was there, we released 3. And out of those 3 that we released, because every one of them ended up going back and fighting in the war.
Every one of them.
Every one of them ended up back in the war on terror.
And they had to be killed.
Yeah. Every one of them.
Wow.
So that's why I'm saying they are brainwashed and they're dangerous. I basically lived with these guys for 18 months and interrogated them for 12 months. And every one of them would go back easily and fight and go back and fight. And every one of them that we did release, like I said, I think we released 3 of them. Every one of them ended up back in the war and ended up dead. I think all 3 of them ended up dying. But you also got to remember too, half these guys that were in Gitmo too, they're the ones that we caught. There was still thousands and thousands and probably millions of them that we didn't catch. And then you got to factor in on this. These suicide bombers are these people that are killing Americans and killing Israelis, are parachuting in, sacrificing their lives if they get killed. A lot of them do it because they pay the families. Their families get checks for the rest of their lives for their sacrifice.
Are any of the people in the audience, in the chat, all 7 of you, are any of you willing to die for your country? Not you. Shit bird.
What about you, John?
Are any of you willing to strap explosives to your chest and die for your country? Are any of you willing to drive a vehicle laden with explosives into a target for your country? I know what you're saying. You're willing to serve your country and fight for your country, but are you willing to do what they would do?
I mean, commit suicide. You're saying, will I commit suicide for my country?
Right. Because we certainly have a prohibition as Christians against suicide.
That's right.
But you got to factor this even more, Gator. You're not killing yourself for your country, or you're killing yourself for your God. That's how they're taking it.
For their interpretation of God.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. But
no, you just clarifying.
Yeah, that's how big it is. Like to them, it would be like us if we felt like Jesus wanted us to commit suicide. How many of y'all would say no? No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
That's how it is for them. It's like Jesus coming down and telling them that they should die and they'll be rewarded. And then their families are taken care of for the rest of their life. That's what Hamas is doing. That's what they believe.
That's right.
They believe that their God told them to do that.
And nothing you say is going to change their mind.
Nope. How many of y'all would change your religion Nobody. Because our religion is embedded in our DNA.
If I went to a conference,
hypothetically,
if I go to a conference and my district superintendent comes up and they say, hey John, we're going to send you into this Walmart and we're going to strap some dynamite. This is something that God wants you to do. And I'd be like, David, I love you, buddy, but as of today, I resign.
Yeah.
Because my faith is bigger than what anybody tells me, right? I have a book of 66 books that's written so that I truly know the essence and character of God. That's what the Bible's about, right? It's not a to-do list. It's a book written so that we know the true nature and true character of God. That's who he is. That's what he is. And nothing about blowing yourself up and killing people makes it. That is not the nature of God.
There's not a single person in this chat or on this live or around us that if told, I need you to go kill all of these innocent people,
None of it would do it.
Not a one of us would do it.
Nope.
Not even for your own kid.
Not a one of us would do that.
Nope.
But that's what we're about to start fighting. That's what we've been fighting for
20
a long
years.
time. But that's what all y'all about to fucking face right here at home. You all about to get a fucking education quick.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
These people.
And when you come to me, I'm going to give you the same advice I'd tell guys that showed up to fucking Afghanistan. Hey, Sergeant, you know how to fucking, been here a while, blah, blah, blah. How do you do this? All right, get your pen and your paper out. You ready? You prepared to copy? It's the only thing you need to know. Don't die. That's all I got for you. Don't die.
Because they're already announcing that they want to do this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the jihad. What is it? The day of jihad or something like that? Tomorrow?
Yep. Day of rage.
The day of rage.
The day of rage. So from my perspective, I would say, listen, guys, get ready all you want. If you want to load your house with guns and all that other stuff, that's great. But you need to be prepared to die.
We've been saying this for years. Be prepared. Get your house in order. Get yourself some protection. Get yourself some power backup. Get some food stores. We've been saying this for years.
Get right with God.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
We've been spiritually ready.
We've been
be ready to die.
Yeah,
be ready to die.
Exactly. And knowing that you're now going to be pushed into a corner, who's going to come out fighting?
Yeah.
Who's got the stone? Who's got the fire in their craw?
And we're not trying to scare you guys, man. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to tell you.
I'm just warning you.
Yeah.
They're telling us that there's a day of rage tomorrow. And I have never seen this group of people lie.
They've lied about peace.
Yeah, lied about peace. But when they say they're going to do something, they normally do it, except for honoring their agreements.
And they will deceive. And they will come after us when our guard is down.
Yep.
You see, one thing that they learned from 9/11 was that 9/12 lasted a day. And they know that our country is we'll collapse like a cheap card table the minute we get pressure, the minute we get accused of racism, the minute we get accused of something, being a Nazi or whatever, that we'll back away from our flag, we'll back away from our God. We will just hide like scared little, right? That's what they learned about us. They learned that we are weak. We are perverse. In their minds, we are infidels, right? We are the great Satan. And the only way to please their God is to wipe us out. And that's what it's all about.
That's sad. I I feel sorry for those people, man, because that's a sad life to live.
Yep.
No peace.
No, but they're looking at towards the afterlife, right? This
Just
life
like
means nothing
on
to
the
them.
other end of the spectrum, we look forward to the afterlife by living a life of peace and compassion and empathy and
Right.
doing for our fellow man, regardless of who. We love thy neighbor as if we love thyself.
That's right.
We love thy enemy as if we love thyself. And they use that against us.
Absolutely.
Oh
They
yeah.
know. They know the Bible better than we do, by the way.
Mhm.
Just so you know that. I wanted to, and if you guys are okay with this, I wanted to read from First Peter. I don't know where you guys, or if you guys are okay with that or not. If
You're
we
good.
scare the audience away or
I
not.
don't mind at all.
This is from First Peter, and it's chapter 2, starting in verse 21. It says, "For you have been called for this purpose, since Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example," right? So Peter is saying, look, Christ is your example. In other words, that is who we're supposed to follow, right? Christ is the example. We can look up to our heroes and stuff on earth and stuff like that, but Christ is the example. He's the perfect example. We are to follow him. He says, so Christ suffered for you, leaving you an example for you to follow in his steps, who committed no sin, nor was any deceit found in his mouth. And while being reviled, he did not revile in return. So Peter, who was probably one of the closest apostles with Jesus, right? He
The
was
rock
one of,
upon which the church was built.
he was the man, right? He's saying that while he was reviled, he did not revile in return, and he is to be our example. So when we are reviled, we are not to revile in return. In other words, revile means to be like put down and just torn apart, like just ripped apart verbally. And he says, and while suffering, he uttered no threats, but kept entrusting himself to him, to the Father who judges righteously. And he himself bore our sins in his body on the cross so that we might die to sin and live to righteousness. For by his wounds, we were healed.
Amen.
For you were continually staying like sheep, but now you have returned to the shepherd and guardian of the souls. And so I read that because, yes, Jesus is our Savior. He is our example, and we are to live and follow in his footsteps. And see, the Muslims know this. They know this better than we know this. And
Jesus
so they
is a
know,
prophet, just so everybody knows. Jesus in the Quran and in the Muslim world was a real man. He was one of the prophets.
correct, but he is not God in
But
their
he is not
eyes.
God.
Right.
So don't think they don't understand what Jesus said. And
Oh, they know it. They read the Bible. They know the Bible. And so they know that we are instructed to turn the other cheek. They know, they see that as a weakness, and don't ever think of it that way. And we have been programmed in this world to see that as a weakness as well. But what I'm saying is that if we're reviled, if these people, these monsters, they can say whatever they want to say about you, understand that that's not going to impact you, right? We don't revile in return. And if we have to suffer in the name of Jesus, then we suffer, because he's already written the book. It's already done. We win. We win. You know, if you're watching a football game on that's been recorded, and your buddy calls and says, hey, by the way, the Steelers win. I'm just using them as an example. The Steelers win. Don't worry. Great game. They win in the end, right? And you're in the third quarter and the Steeler throws an interception. Should you be concerned? No, because you know the end. it would be silly to be concerned because you know they're going to win. We know we're going to win. That's all I want to share.
Love it. This guy right here.
But with that, I'm gonna wrap this up, guys.
Wrap this up.
Any last thoughts, Gator?
Yeah, wrap this up. No, I'm just kidding. Like I said earlier, you know me. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, look out for each other, especially nowadays. But more importantly, I need y'all to keep your fucking heads on a swivel, keep your powder dry. I need you to be situationally aware at all times for the coming days, weeks, and months. And I need you to be steadfast in your resolve. And I need you, should we go down this road, be willing to put in the work and do what it takes to defeat the enemies. With that, I say I love all of you.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, man.
Yep.
Pastor John?
What's that?
Anything? Any last words?
Any final thoughts? I mean, it's just really what I want to talk about is, look, I mean, when times like this occur, especially when Israel is involved, all the experts come out of the woodwork that know everything about the end times, right?
Yeah.
And so I just want to say, don't pay attention to those people, okay? Because they don't know. They think they know, but they don't know. And they're just going to confuse you. So
what does the Bible say about the end times? You shall not know.
Not even the Son of Man knows.
Right. It'll be like a thief in the night. Okay. No one's going to know it's going to when it comes down, but when it happens, everybody will know. And here's the thing. Get yourself right with God.
Have your bags packed, but don't have any baggage.
That's right. Protect yourself. Be vigilant, like Gator's saying. Know what's around you. Understand. Be smart. Keep your kids from concerts this weekend or whatever you're going to do. Be smart. I always say, listen, I trust God, but I'm not going to tie myself to the railroad tracks, okay, and think he's going to save me. That's just dumb. Don't put yourself in bad situations. Be smart, but always live as if the Lord will come back tomorrow, because he can, and you need to be prepared. Go to church.
Amen.
All right, guys. Subscribe to this channel. I think John has a channel about digging or something.
Yeah, I'm a metal detectorist. Swing and dig it. Yeah, I just like to go out. That's my hobby.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, love metal detecting.
Finding it cool.
Uh-huh.
So go subscribe to Swing and Dig It. And is that right? Swing and Dig It?
Yeah, Swing and Dig It metal detecting.
Shut the fuck up.
Subscribe to Gator's Den. Also go subscribe to Bear Reacts and History. If you want to see some music, Gator does everything else, and John does Swinging and Digging It.
Swing and dig it.
What? Swing and digging?
Dig it.
Dig
IT. Swing and dig it.
You swing the metal detector, and then you dig what you find.
There you go. Boom.
John actually just went to go to where they filmed the Goonies on the beach. So go check that out. It's actually a really good video.
Cannon Beach, Oregon.
Cannon Beach. I hope y'all have a good day. Oh, can you post your link in the chat, John?
I'm not signed up to join the chat.
Oh, okay. Go to my channel. I think I'm subscribed to it. You can find it out there. But
yeah, you can find it. If you just search at Swing and Dig It, it'll pop up.
Yeah.
So you say.
At Swing and I can't even spell. At Swing and Dig It.
Swing and Dig It.
Oh,
Swing and
I spelled that wrong. Swing and
it. There you go.
There we go.
Network.
I thought it was swinging, like SWING, swing and dig it. And I was like, this motherfucker right here.
Oh, Mickey Kentucky put it in there. So
thanks, Mickey. After I searched all the YouTubes to try and find his channel, I subbed, buddy.
And also subscribe to Bear Reacts and History. It's my other channel.
Small Town Tourist.
Oh,
Small Town, dude! Send me around a rabbit hole with this shit.
Yeah.
Small Town Tourist is my favorite. So But I hope you all have a good time with us tonight. I hope you all have a good day. God bless. And as always, deuces. Good night. Bye.
We'll just sit here live for a while.
Trying to